All right now. So this is day 4. My. How, how, you know, I'm enjoying more of this journey. I'm enjoying more of this journey because I'm gonna tell you, I know that when it comes to spirituality and having spiritual experiences or supernatural experiences, you know, you don't always have to have some type of substance, okay? But the thing is that because I enjoyed my substances like marijuana, you know, it was never really about me trying to have experiences with using my substances. But I will say that I just kind of, it seems like when I was using my substances, it just kind of seemed like things were more clear, you know. So, I had an experience last night to where, my son is going through things. And, I usually deal with my son. I'm the one who studies psychology. I am the spiritualist. I am the one in my mind who actually gives a damn about our son's emotional and mental state. So I'm going to tell you, my son's father, the way he deals with his stress of life and of the day, he's a drinker. So every night he drinks. So, I just got tired of it because I'm just kind of like, your son is going through things and he is suffering, and you don't understand, you don't know anything about it, you're not trying to talk, you're not trying to figure anything out, and my son is coming to me, and I mean, he got this attitude, and I'm just like, I'm trying to work out my own shit mentally. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm trying to put myself back together and make sure that I'm consistent in being stable. So, my son was just like, well, I want to stay at home tomorrow because this is and that. And I'm just like, boy, you not staying at home with me. You going to carry your ass to school because I don't want to deal with you. So that's how I felt. That's how I felt. I felt like I wasn't going to be able to do it. And he is a very stubborn boy. So, he's just giving me a whole bunch of lip and a whole bunch of attitude. And I'm just like, oh, hell no, I'm not dealing with this. So, I just kind of felt this pressure, to address his dad about some things. Because I'm just like, you know what? You never want to deal with this shit. But, we're about to deal with this. So, it's crazy because, child, it's crazy because my son he could feel me. He gonna run in the bathroom and close the door. Dad, when dad wants his alone time, he go in his bathroom and close the door. And he lock. You see, everybody smart up in here because they lock doors around here. Because I will bust in. I'm trying to teach my son respect, so I don't bust in on him. And then considering, our relationship, mom and son relationship, but with me and dad, dad can be on the shitter, dad can be using the bathroom, he could just be in there sitting, drinking, chilling, you know. If I got something to say, if I want to talk about something, I'm busting up in there. I don't care what you're doing. If I want to talk, we're going to talk. And a lot of the times, individuals are more vulnerable, when they're on the crapper. So, you can't go nowhere. You're forced to talk to me and you're going to talk to me. You understand what I'm saying? And I know that they can make people uncomfortable or whatever, but they used to it up in here. Cause when I'm not playing. When it's time to talk about shit, I'm not playing. And it's just been too much avoiding. And I felt I felt upset because I'm just like, he's been drinking. He's not really going to be here. He's not going to be in his right mind. He's not going to be able to help me, but I don't know what else to do, you know. So, um, I start confronting him, and we're talking to our son through the bathroom because the bathrooms are lined up next to each other and the walls are very thin, so he can hear me addressing and confronting his dad, and we can hear him speak through the walls, even though the doors are closed. So our son, he's in there crying, and he's talking to us with the door closed because he doesn't he doesn't want us to see him crying. Okay, so we're trying to talk to him. So, dad gets off the shitter, and, I knock on the door to see if son will let me in. So dad just barges in the door, and like dad keeps bringing up repetitive shit, and I'm just like, ugh, he is so drunk, and he's not making matters any better. He's making them worse. So, I'm just like, okay, 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 because you doing fussing, you beating him down, you're not helping him. And I kind of got triggered by dad because dad is always trying to take away from me. Like he's always trying to take away from my experience, my capabilities, my knowledge of stuff, and so my ego got triggered, and I'm just like, well, I study psychology. I'm the art therapist. I'm the therapist up in here. So you need to go sit your ass down. So he gave me this look. The way he looked at me, his eyes said, step aside. So I said, who is this? Like I just saw this energy just come through him. And when he looked at me, it said, step aside. So everything that I was about to start feeling, that shit got shut down. I was like, oh. I was like, okay. I was like, well, who is this? So then all of a sudden, he just started talking. And I was just like, now he making a lot of sense, I said, okay. I said, well, I was just like, well, I'm going to just listen, and I'm going to just intervene whenever it's time to intervene. So, we all had a discussion. We had a discussion. We had like a little family discussion about helping my son, through some things that he was going through. And I mean, I'm sitting up there, I'm studying my son's father because I'm just like, who is this? This is not him. He just sitting there, he's sitting on his chair, he's talking, he's making a lot of sense. And then on top of that, with certain stuff, he's making sense. And then he's letting me talk. You understand what I'm saying? He's always trying to talk over me. He's always trying to overpower everybody. You understand what I'm saying? He's letting me talk. When it comes to his son, he be trying to overpower his son too. That's why the son doesn't feel comfortable with talking to dad. So, dad is sitting there talking, he's listening, and he's asking questions, and I'm just like, damn, who is this? I'm just I said, this some big daddy energy right here. Cause that damn sure won't him. You see, my son's father, spirits come in and out of him. Projections come in and out of him. So that won't him. I wish he was aware enough to where he could say thank you. because whoever came through, honey, thank you. I'm gonna say thank you for him. Thank you, because baby boy needed that. Baby boy needed that help. I needed that support too. Because I'm kind of exhausted dealing with my own shit. And then on top of that, I'm just like, damn, I got to muster up enough to be able to deal with baby boy too. And baby boy, I be telling him, hold dad accountable. And he just go and hide. So then I got to come out and then I got to confront dad. But oh yeah, I saw that look in his eye. He looked at me, and the thing is that he was already talking. So then he just, when I start talking about, I when I was when I start talking, well, I study psychology. I am the art therapist. I am the one that he just got quiet, and it's the way his eyes shifted. He just looked at me, and I said, oh, it was funny. It was funny. I said, "Ooh, that's not him." You know, um, and to be honest, I didn't feel like that was God neither. God be speaking to him through me. Sometimes when God want to get my attention, he'll say things to him. He'll say things through my son's father. He's like a open portal. He's like a channel. I told you the spirits be coming through, like God be speaking, the devil be speaking through his ass too. And I just be like, sometimes it gets hard to be able to, discern him, but, I've had to set boundaries, and I've been trying to teach him how to set boundaries too, but I don't know, sometimes the shit works, sometimes it don't, but last night, I'm just like, oh, okay. I don't surrender to that man. I don't submit to him. I don't surrender to him. I don't submit to him. You know, not in that way. Not when it come to baby boy, because I don't trust him when it come to his son. I don't trust him. But whoever came through last night, I was just like, oh, well, let me sit down and chill, honey, because I could tell I ain't doing this alone. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, I had that experience. It was so potent. It was so potent. It was so clear, you know? And I'm just like, damn, it hasn't been this clear in years. Because I've been consistently smoking the marijuana for years. So, I mean, there are times to where I take breaks. I'll have my experiences, but it's hard for me. It takes me a while to be able to discern certain things. Certain things go over my head and I figure it out later. But last night, I was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I think that was very beautiful. That was very nice. I'm just like, well, damn, can you stay? You know, but I mean, whatever. I don't want to. I don't want to do that. You know, I appreciate that my son's father is who he is, so that I am able to be able to I am able to be able to see it and experience it. But I want to do a reading. I want to do a reading. Yes, sir. Because that's the type of energy I'm just like, damn. You know, that's what a sister need. Sister need that type of energy. Cause I'm gonna tell you, I've had to do things. I've had to be the one for a very long time. And of course, in the beginning, I used to cry. I used to snap. I used to be upset, and I used to cry out like, why is this happening to me? And I'm trying to tell you, I just developed. I'm getting emotional. I did. I developed this hardness because I felt like no matter how much I cried out, it's like nobody came. It's like, you know, um, I did. I felt abandoned by God. I did. And I just grew this resentment, and I didn't know. I didn't know. I think that I'm coming to that realization right now. I just developed this resentment towards God, feeling like I was alone, but I always knew that somebody was with me. It was like either my spirit guides or my angels, but it's kind of like, you know, um, I wasn't being appreciative of my guides or my angels because it's like I want God. This shit is crazy. And then, like, I was grateful that that I was able to have some type of assistance to be able to help me, to build me. And I feel like I just kind of just became this machine, and it's like I just kind of started numbing myself. But this is why I created devotional development, you know, because in the search for devotion, it's kind of like when you can't find it within another human being, you can find it within God. You can find it within a higher power. That's how I came up with this channel. That's how I came up with this. Because when people feel alone, this is when people start having suicidal thoughts. This is when people become hopeless. And it's kind of like, you have to understand that people are always going to disappoint you. Human beings are always going to disappoint you, but that void that you feel, that void is kind of like the void is so deep that only a higher power can fill it. And my thing is that I had realized that, I knew that I was upset. It's kind of like, it's like I have this romantic relationship with God, but then it's kind of like I have this father-daughter relationship with God. You know? And it's kind of like, during that time as a daughter, I just kind of felt like you should always be with me. You should always be holding my hand. You not supposed to let go of my hand. But like I said, during that time, that's when I was getting to know some of my spirit guides, you know. So, I mean, I developed before I found the devotional development, I found powerhouse balance. You know, I had accepted that yes, God is real. I have my guides and my angels and all that type of stuff, but ultimately it's me, you know. It's me. The greatest thing that I must have faith in is me. And so I just built myself up around that perception. And I kept running into individuals to where it just kind of seemed like everybody needed me more. Everybody needed me, and everybody needed me more. And I just felt like God gave me this position, and that is what I had to do, and that is who I needed to be, and that's who I was gonna always be. I didn't question too much about it because I knew that there wasn't much. It's kind of like I was in the middle of the battlefield. I didn't have time to ask questions or to wonder why. It's kind of like I just had to get in there and fight and learn. You know what I'm saying? And that is what I did. That is what I did. And so, I began to thrive, and that is how I came up with Powerhouse Balance. You know? So, I mean, um, when I kind of felt, you know, a shift or a change, it wasn't necessarily I felt Powerhouse Balance falling apart. I just I just began to want a different desire. An individual came into my life. They were so beautiful. It was like they brought me to life. And I'm just like, had I been dead the whole time? Was I dead the whole time? Was I not doing what I was supposed to be doing this whole time? It's kind of like I had turned into this machine. And this person came into my life. They turned off the off button, and I stepped outside of the machine. This person grabbed my hand, and it's like they reintroduced me to life again. They reintroduced me to love. Now the thing is that it was fucked up because this person, they was playing me. I began to notice certain things about their energy, about how it was kind of like in and out. And I mean, this person's past history, he is not a good candidate to consider something serious with this person. I already knew that. And the way in which that this person was judging me through everything, the reason why they played me, because they thought that I was just soft and I was just naive. I allowed them to take off my armor and strip me bare. And my vulnerability made this person think that, for one, who I was displaying to be was fake. And then for two, my vulnerability made me naive and stupid. If, I couldn't pick any of this up. This person was very honest with me about a lot of things they had going on with them. They were very lighthearted, you know, and they were just a lot of fun and just very creative. And they were somebody that, I admired. They were very creative. I mean, I'm very creative. This individual it's kind of like I began to get back into my creativity too. I started to get back into my music. It's like everything that I had lost appreciation for about myself, it's like this person rejuvenated it. And that's why I couldn't understand. I'm just like, how could you judge me that way? You do so much for me to, like, I think that you're just so great and just so amazing. And you're a fucking slime ball. Why wasn't I able to see it? But the thing is, instead of me judging him, I just accepted it. He kept, after a while, I felt like he was trying to mold me and turn me into somebody else. And I fought back because I'm just like, you must be crazy. No. You done woke me up to appreciating myself once again. And now you're trying to turn around and reinvent me, or you're, pretty much reinvent me. But the thing is that I'm not willing to work. I'm not willing to put in the work to reinvent myself in those areas of life in my creativity. And, he just kept trying to compare me to another woman. And I'm just like, I don't understand where you see the comparison. First he tried to introduce me to her because he wanted to see if I was jealous. So when he saw that I wasn't jealous, it's kind of like he was trying to get me to be like her. And I'm just like, no shade. But that girl, I mean, she was a rapper. She's a rapper. And then on top of that, it's kind of like what she rap about is shallow. And to me, I mean, it's mindless. Like, I don't listen to her music at all. Like, it don't have no substance, no nothing. So he was trying to get me to see that she was actually a different person other than her music. And I'm just like, you're not discerning her, because no, she's not. She's allowing you to show her, she's allowing you to take her along on these experiences, but this is not who she really is. I could see that. And so he kind of felt like I was jealous. So he began to separate us. So then he started trying to bounce in between us. And he felt as if I didn't notice it. I'm just like, at one point in time, you were here all the time. Now you're coming and going. Like, then he tries to lie to me and tell me, oh, I'm not worried about that person. Like, I want to be with you. Just trying to make it seem like he real serious about me and he want more. But a part of me knew that he was full of shit and he was lying. But like I said, I appreciated him. I felt alive when it came to him. I felt creative again. I wanted to get back into things that I had let go of. Nothing was really the same because, life just wasn't really aligned to those things anymore. I didn't have the materials. I didn't have the equipment. I didn't have the space. That's another reason why I didn't want to do it neither. Because my thing is that he wanted me to reinvent myself, and I thought that was a good idea. I said, you know what, I think I will. But when he tried to compare me and wanted me to reinvent myself into that woman, I'm just like no thank you. And then the thought of me reinventing myself, it just left. I was just like, it's like I snapped out of it, and I'm just like, I'm good enough. Like he likes the hair, he likes the makeup, he likes me when I dress up and all this type of stuff. But the thing is that I am so I am so tired of men. I'm so tired of men telling me and making me feel like I have to do more for them to stay attracted to me. I'm just like, none of y'all are all of that. You understand what I'm saying? Because you know, I have dated, individuals, I mean, their bodies are better, their faces are better, their pockets are better, and I'm just like, you have the audacity to really try to sit here and try to make me feel like I should be more to you. Why don't you just go for more? You know, I could have more, and I know that I could have more with just being me. So why the fuck do you think that I'm going to settle for you? And then you are wanting me to make it seem like I have to fit you and be more. And it has a lot to do with insecurity. I begin to realize that this individual has some very in-depth insecurities. But I didn't care. I didn't judge him. I'm just like, whatever. You know what? I'm going to choose to be unconditional towards this person because that is what they need. That is what they need. I'm not going to sit here and be serious with this person knowing that they don't even take themselves serious. So, I mean, we had certain conversations, and I could feel, when he was with that other woman, I could feel it, you know. And, I'm just like, if that's where you want to be, then just be there. So we had our final conversation, and I'm thinking to myself, why we've had this conversation many a times, and you already know that I don't want to keep having this conversation. I want you to do what you want to do. I want you to go where you want to go. But it's kind of like this individual thought that it's like he thought I was going to kill myself if I didn't have him. And I'm just like, damn, he has the wrong idea about me. He thought that I would just totally self-destruct without him. So I remember we were having this conversation, and when I was scrolling through my YouTube, I had came across this guy, and I'm trying to tell you, hit the voice, this, when the guy was talking to me, his voice just disappeared. And I just zoomed into this man, and I'm just like, damn, who is this man? So to where, I got this guy in my ear, and he's trying to make up all these excuses, and he's trying to, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I'm just like, I said to him very calmly, I said, it's okay, go ahead. Go be happy. I just needed him to get out of my ear so that I can zoom in on this other guy. So that was the point in time to where, me and that other guy had separated. It's like as soon as he walked out, this new man walked in. I was very infatuated by this man. He was an Asian man, you know. I had never taken a liking to an Asian man before, you know. And I mean, he had my full attention. I know myself very well, so I know that I can't obsess about him, because if I obsess about him, then I'm going to want to become him, okay? So, I had to take my time. And I remember, he was talking about being whole, and he was talking about being split. And when he said that, I'm just like, damn. Because, he's a mental health advocate too, within his own way. So I'm just like, damn, I'm out here trying to help people with their mental health and all this type of stuff. But, I know that I'm split. So because I'm split, it's just like, am I not whole? Am I not good enough? Am I not supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I just kind of felt lost. I just kind of felt lost, and I don't know. One thing that I've learned is that, I don't know. Me, myself, as a person who works over the internet, you have to have your boundaries. You can't just let people easily in, because I had asked him that question. And when I asked him that question, I really wanted an answer back, and I just never got an answer. So, in all actuality, me and this individual have connected in spirit, but like on the ground, there is no recognition or no acknowledgement. But my thing is that happens a lot to me with a lot of individuals that I meet and reach out to. I don't really understand it. It confuses me, but it is what it is. I found my answer. My answer is just, I am me. I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I am where I'm supposed to be. I am what I am. So, these connections they get, because he knows about manifesting too. And so it just always kind of seems like men just want so much control. So it's kind of like they're always trying to tell you who and how to be. Because he talked about not being direct, But I'm just like, I don't know. I have a serious attraction to him. And I have this very, it's like a submission. I have this submission to him. Sometimes people are not in alignment with their soul and with their physical. So you can't just approach somebody as if they are aware, because they may not be aware. And sometimes in this life, individuals, they don't really truly believe in what they talk about. So when they realize that it's true, they get scared and they get overwhelmed. Some individuals know it's true and they just kind of want to play games with you, and they want to abuse you and hurt you mentally and spiritually, because in all actuality, you are powerful. And when you merge your spirit and your physical together and you make a move, they feel out of control. Sometimes a man just, wants to, just kind of be able to use you for your energy. I've had a lot of experiences in this, and I'm just like, I don't have faith in anybody. I have faith in myself. My thing is, I'm just kind of waiting for the real person to actually reach out to me and stop playing these fucking games, because it's kind of like a lot of people are dishonoring these connections, and it's just like I'm just like, a lot of you are not who you say you are. You're not. So, there's a part of me that had hope that this Asian guy would be different, but I just don't see that happening in human form. So, I can allow these feelings. I can feel these feelings and I can allow it, because a part of me knows that it's not going to happen. But in the spirit, to where we are connecting in the spirit, it's possible. It's real. It's true. Encountering this individual is what actually helped me to stop smoking. It's kind of like the moment that I decided that I wanted to get to know more of who he is and what he has going on, I began to practice my breathing more, and I began to practice my music more. And with sitting there thinking about him, intentionally breathing him in, I'm just like, damn, I don't have a desire for cigarettes anymore. I have a gift with being able to see other people's gifts. I get so frustrated with people sometimes, because it's kind of like, if you took time to get to know who you were and explore your gifts and your powers, your life would be completely different, and you wouldn't be out here trying to hurt or bring havoc to other people. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just like, damn, he has the gift to heal people's obsessions, or maybe their vices. I'm going to say obsession, because I have a bit of an obsession, with sex. And in the 5D realm, he triggers those demons. He triggers, it's kind of like my demons want him. Like, I seen the vision. I seen a vision of it. It was kind of like, it's like two dogs jumped out of me. and ran towards him, and he snapped his fingers, and they sat down. I'm just like, what? And I told myself, I said, ooh, I was like, he's dominant. I could be submissive with him and I can trust him. So I would have these visions, of him dominating me. It's like the same energy that came through my son's father. To where, my son's father just gave me that look and I'm just like, oh, okay. It's kind of like he doesn't have to take control. It's like I just naturally surrender to him. It has been very torturous for me because I'm trying to understand, and I'm going to tell you, he and I had a conversation in the 5D, and he told me, he said he liked white women, so he said he's attracted to white women. So I'm just like, oh, okay. So I'm just like, well, this is not going to work. And I don't want to be that girl. And I just became really sad because I'm just kind of like, God, what are you doing? Like, who is this person? Who is this man? Why did this happen? Like, what's going on? I was just real confused. I wanted to be angry, but I just couldn't muster it up. I just couldn't muster up the anger. Because it's like he gave me a gift. He gave me a gift. I stopped smoking. That was a gift. So, I said to myself, maybe that was the reason, that maybe that was the purpose of our encounter. And I'm just going overboard. I'm just going overboard with it. So, I just, I'm just here. I'm just living. I'm just doing, not looking for anything, I'm just more so trying to stay focused on my gift. Appreciating my gift, taking care of my gift, nurturing my gift. I'm just like, do these people know who they are? Do they know? Are they fucking with me? Am I being tested? Like, what the fuck is going on? But quite honestly, it's annoying. I had this other individual, the individual I was talking about. So that guy was white. Recently I had him trying to come back towards me, and I'm just like, I don't want to be with anybody. I don't want to be with anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like I just want to focus on this gift. That guy, he made his choice. You know, like you're not gonna keep, you're not, now that I know, you understand? It's like now that I know the truth, like if I would have known that about him before, it would have never been an us, you know? It never would have been an us. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I hope you don't think that I'm going to settle. I'm going to settle with being with him, with dealing with him. You know, I'm not going to settle and deal with that Asian guy playing games with me neither. And my thing is that, he popped up. I got to read it. We talked about this in the last video. I got to read it, and he popped up there. So it's kind of like, is he lingering? Is his energy lingering? Is he watching me? Like, what the fuck is he doing? Come to tell you, I ain't chasing after no fucking man. I'm not doing it. I shouldn't have to do that. I'm able to speak my truth no matter how crazy it seems. I'm not reaching out to him. I'm not slipping in his DMs. I'm not doing none of that. Because, and I'm not, he got some shit going on with his business. I'm not about to sit up there and try to, and because I don't want that. I don't care about that. I want him. And maybe I'm wrong for that, but I don't care. I want him, and I'm not going to play games with him. I'm not going to sit up there and try to get close to him through some work venture and waste his time and disrespect him in that way. If he's serious, he's passionate about what he does. I'm not going to try to be that little rat that tries to make my way in. I'm not going to do that. I'm not reaching out. I'm not DMing him. I'm not doing any of that. I've done a lot of that in the past. And I mean, I'm just not chasing a man. Not doing it. I'm not going to let nobody else tell me who and how to be. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what be wrong with people. It's like people be trying to play me like I'm not about it. And it's just like I show up all the time. Like if you can't figure it out, if you can't see it by now, then it's just leave me the fuck alone. I know way more than what I say. And I feel like as a spiritualist, you're not supposed to be saying everything. And when it comes to other individuals, it's kind of like that's kind of how you can tell the real from the fake. Because if somebody needs you to say too much and they're not willing to do anything about the truth anyway, that's kind of like somebody who's in disbelief looking for some type of confirmation. But I'm a spirit builder. I'm not trying to give you confirmation. Because you need to know. Because gaslighting is high volume out this motherfucker. People put on fake funerals. people will people will it's crazy. They will look at you and it's some other shit going on with them. It's crazy out here. And you got a lot of people out here acting the part, and that's because they out here listening to other people and mimicking other people. And then when they end up going through some shit or experiencing some shit, it's like they can't believe it. You really see what's up with them. I want people to stop playing with me and stop fucking with me. That's what I want. You know. My thing is, I experienced a lot of this stuff with being high. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been experiencing musicians, actors, actresses, other spiritualists. There is no limit to my experiences that I've had. That's how I know this shit real. And motherfuckers be coming to me, they be scared. Some people be scared because they don't want to believe it, but you want to play around with it. I don't understand. You want to sit here and act like aliens and extraterrestrial life don't exist. You done seen the shit in the sky. You done seen it. People done seen it. The government talks about it. And they try to gaslight like they're just now figuring some shit out. Stop it. Because you be creating clouds in the sky to overshadow these motherfuckers coming to the base. I don't know who they think that they're fucking with. Those are my people. Stop fucking with me. I got deities protecting me. I speak to the deities. They be in my house. I can tell when they in here because my dog. They don't like my dog. I don't understand. They don't like my dog. I'm not about to sit up here. I don't know. I'm a tough, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like people always be trying to break me down. It's just like, but you can't break me down because I know. You can't take away from me what I know. I can sit in the closet and I can travel to space. I don't have any limits to my experiences. You think that shit is not devastating for me? It has become so undeniable. They will not let me get away from it. I've tried to run away from it. They won't let me get away from it. Sometimes I feel like everybody's fighting for me to be with them. It's like I don't belong anywhere. Because because some people know what's up. And it's kind of like they feel like I should be doing this and I should be doing that. But I came here to live. I came here to be in love. And I just feel like everybody is just trying to tell me that's not what it is. You're not going to tell me that. These puny little humans really don't deserve the air that they breathe. They don't deserve life at all. They're lucky that this planet still exists. It's a privilege that they are experiments. They don't get it. All these people want to get close to me. Them niggas need to be donating to my cause. I just want the money. I don't want people's apology. I don't want people's sympathy. I don't want their understanding. I don't want to help them. Because everything that you did was because of money. That's what I want. And now it's at a point to where you can't even give me that. But that's what it was all about. I deserve to be in love. And if I can't have love or be in love, I don't care if I end up alone. I don't care if I be alone. I don't care. I am Gaia. I hold nations on the inside of me. I hold the world inside of me. I control this shit in all actuality. And it's just like, when I say that, I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. But I know. These motherfuckers take these herbs and they abuse them. They using them for wicked shit. Everything in which that Gaia created is for healing. I just want to meet a beautiful human being and spend the rest of my days being in love with that human being. That is the only thing. I think that is the only thing that would help me to restore some type of faith in people. Because other than that, I just could care less. I don't even want to think about it. I just imagine that none of it ever took place, that none of it was ever real. And they wonder how I could just walk away. I don't know how many times I've tried to teach them the power of imagination and they just don't get it. It's fucking idiots. What I've done is enough. That's it. That's it.